All right. If everybody was available, they got to witness one of the final games over on Monday night involving the Philadelphia Eagles visiting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, failing to recover over the second seed, where they could have gotten an easier opponent over easier I say in quotation marks because the Dallas Cowboys, even though coming over as the division leaders, also lost over convincing fashion, playing off against 49ers in the divisional round. Congrats to the Cowboys. I'm sure a lot of people didn't even expect them to touch over a wild card race latter part of the season, but the Eagles, even though coming over as NFC Championship favorites into the season, they come over just losing 5 out of their last 6 after starting 5-10-1, holding over a 5-game winning streak over the start of the season after falling up short after offensive coordinators changed side over to Brian Johnson, Marcus Bradley, Jason Mitchell, Matt Patricia over defensive coordination. Dude, I was watching the Manning cast in correlation with also watching the live broadcast because I like watching whenever they bring legends or celebrities over to guest host and they do a bit of a co-broadcast. Ray Lewis was over and bro, he got so tight over the cooperation with the defense. And let's keep it a buck. Eagles are a college level offense. They're a gadget offense. They got well read after a hot run, probably one of the hottest runs in franchise history, making it over to the Super Bowl, probably having the best performances, only beating the New York Giants until they had their final, until they hit over to the Meadowlands and then A.J. Brown got injured over in Week 18, falling short over a close collective game, over a 99-yard pick six by the Arizona Cardinals, getting outplayed by the Seattle Seahawks, then getting pimp slapped by the San Francisco 49ers in a 19-point deficit. They haven't even had a convincing win since playing off against the Miami Dolphins, and that was falling short. They couldn't even beat the Commanders after Sam Howell started with 2 straight touchdown passes and made him look like a consistent. There are bottom-tier quarterbacks that have better QBR. Sam Howell has better QBR. Daniel Jones had better QBR. Joe Flacco had a better passing touchdown ratio while trying to carry over the Cleveland Browns last minute in the second half of the season and making over, even though falling short, no one expected Joe Flacco to still play in a high level. You got to have 3 combined quarterbacks from the New York Jets to even put up the statistical margin Jalen Hurts can. And Jalen Hurts, there's flaws over his game, but it's not completely the reason why they fell short. The play calling is questionable. Predictable. While they have pieces, they had probably the best pass blocking all-pro offensive line while having an aggressive pass rush. DeAndre Swift was an absolute non-factor in that game, by the way, against the Buccaneers. If we look at his carries, bro, it was like quick. DeAndre Swift is an outside carrying playmaker, yet they only had him have 10 carries. Getting sacked 3 times shouldn't have happened after both quarterbacks didn't get sacked over in the first half. 9 for 9 over the completion rating. 4 consecutive possessions where they were munching over 15 minutes over possession. The Buccaneers should have been the lesser team, but Baker Mayfield, it was playing like it was pandemic when it was back when he was in Cleveland. And Baker Mayfield has been given a rough hand off the media because of poor performance and just high expectation. Because you were dealing with a lesser franchise, they expect the world from you. And Eagles fans expect the world from any type of outcome. Already after just a poor performance over in the wildcard division, after getting exposed, Sirianni's head is already put on a swivel. And I'm all for it. I'm all for the negativity. Sirianni is an over-predictable coach. He's obviously indecisive over in the leader role, over his own coaching staff, even demoting himself that I've heard over on play calling directives on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. Trey Palmer was just getting stuff done. Chase Edmonds was just outstanding. Man, Shout out to Rashad White. He was killing them over third down conversions. Baker Mayfield, and this was when Mike Evans wasn't a non-factor over the first half. Trey Palmer had an outstanding 31-yard carry over to the end zone after breaking over one defender, and he switches over to his right. They're not even trying to slow down over long strides to the end zone. Cade Otton was just killing it off first down conversions, combining over 189 yards of receiving. No forced fumbles. Baker Mayfield had only 2 pass deflections by the defense over Zach Cunningham. That was actually reading over in the play. The midfield was just getting just swallowed up. Nicholas Morrow can barely carry over on reads and just over passing screens. Highly conservative third down conversions. Because A.J. Brown couldn't bail them out. And I'm not going to take anything away. Devontae Smith played outstanding. He's still one of the better receivers, young receivers in the NFL. But A.J. Brown is just an all-pro that he's been overshadowed. Dallas Goedert was picked over in a major read, but he still tried to gamble over on the stride over that fourth down conversion. I saw that completely. It's obvious that Jalen Hurts is cooked as a passer. He's probably not seasoned well over in the pocket passing game. I know he's trying to stride out and he can carry off by a dime, but there's a difference between being an improvising quarterback and just being a smart QB. When you're over a fourth down conversion, you need 5 yards to carry over, and then you can do whatever you want. Tush push even over off their first scoring possession of Dallas Goedert got completely swallowed up by Vita, and they just got stuck over their only calling card for extra points while gambling when they were already down by 2 scores. Undisciplined, incompetent coaching staff already with just a subpar quarterback that obviously needs to learn. They still have a promising defensive unit. Nolan Smith, I just wish he was more of a factor. But anybody that was trying to pressure around Baker Mayfield, it shouldn't happen just only around the second half of football. It sucks what happened over to Darius Slay. He got injured after falling over his own teammate and buckled around his knee. But the secondary wasn't doing a thing. Bradley Roby was getting cooked. Hassan, the only person that was actually making a stride, got combo sacks off the pressure of Brandon Graham and Josh Sweat. Fletcher Cox shouldn't be the only person pressuring over the quarterback, only in the third quarter. It's embarrassing. If anybody's an Eagles fan right now, you should be absolutely upset off your team's performance. Shout out to Jason Kelsey. If it wasn't for the stream previously, I got Spongy upset. Shout out to Spongy. He's a young man that does content creation. He's a avid Eagles fan, so I can understand he's upset. I also cut him off a lot. But you got to understand, and this is coming off my mouth. I'm not trying to push a narrative or anything, Spongy. And you were doing what probably a lot of Eagles fans were doing, blaming the coaching staff, trying to push everybody under the bus except the leader of the team, the play calling over in the team. Sirianni's going to be crying a bitch for the second time after making a championship loss into a first-round loss, pushing over as the double-digit favorites over in warm temperatures. While the Bills had to play in negative 10 freaking degrees, the Chiefs had to play while it was also cold as fuck. You had everything you had everything handed to you on a silver platter to play off in a big game against the unproven Detroit Lions, where you guys could possibly make another championship appearance. I don't know what's going to be the call, but I know Sirianni's possibly not going to be called for his head. I know there's probably going to be some coaching staff mishaps. After like David Moore just bum rushed your secondary. Jake, like literally, I think the only consistent player on the team that had hit a long ball today was Jake Elliott. Shout out to Devontae Smith too; he played outstanding. Cade Otton, outstanding. Baker Mayfield is the player of the game, in my opinion. He was consistent, very confident. Even though he got that massive prayer up over on the secondary for probably the decisive touchdown over to Trey Palmer. For literally, that was insane how he got that deep ball. And then Trey Palmer got the 10 toes down. It was awesome. Over in the red zone. No, I think that was to Chris Godwin to close out over in the game. It was outstanding performance. I don't know if it can carry over the momentum because the Buccaneers, the NFC South as a whole, was not favored around the entire division. So possibly it can be a close, decisive, or shutout, depending on how it is. We don't know how it's going to go. I'm probably going to push over a 7-point favorites out of the Detroit Lions. I'll probably go into further detail either way for the Niners and Packers game because the Packers just shocked the world after a 48 points of total offense allowed on the Dallas Cowboys. So this is probably the most insane playoffs if for any of these NFC teams. It's great to see the Lions playing very well. And yeah, shout out to the Buccaneers. They deserve it. They played way better out of their competitions. And just only 9 points of total offense out of one of the top 5 offenses in the NFL is inexcusable. Absolutely. Jalen Hurts got to be portrayed as the system quarterback after all the slander put over for Kyler Murray. Lamar Jackson, that's in MVP form right now. And yeah, hopefully they can learn from their mistakes. They can have a more seasoned coaching staff that can probably push the buttons of the coach so they can get over on the right page. Get more extensive depth in the receiving core. And actually get your running backs involved. DeAndre Swift is too good. Kenneth Gainwell shouldn't be used for screen passes on 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 16s. Julio Jones shouldn't be your second option over on the receiving core. That's embarrassing. Excuse me, that was a phone call. I don't know where they got Olamide Sicarius and Julio Jones as receiving depth on the team, but it just felt like underutilized schemes were just neglected just to play it over safe when you guys were already trailing in the first freaking quarter. It's embarrassing. But, yeah. That's it for me. How you guys feel about the Eagles? You think Sirianni should be fired? Are the Eagles fans over-exaggerating? Because I feel like, in my opinion, they're probably the more privileged fan base in the NFL over the Dallas Cowboys, over the New York Giants. You can give a knack for the Eagles, at least for right now. They've been a contending team for the past several seasons, and they've been trying to build over at least what type of identity they are, but right now they're not. And it showed right there because being in the playoffs is a complete form of your team established over 18 games. So it's understandable. I don't understand A.J. Brown was a massive loss, but still, you could have won this game if you played your cards right and the play calling was amazing. I think that safety in that 4th down was completely evident that this team is incompetent. And just these games, and the games that they even went through in the regular season were a bit closer and way too close quarters to even convince that they're a top team to make it to the freaking Super Bowl again. Hopefully they can get it right over in the off season. They have a lot of time to think about it. No, I'm not trying to be immature. That's it for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. I'm going to log off. Like, comment, and share for further content. That's it from me.